back in the nook, and we're gonna make a little friend for this fella. We're gonna make a little Lady Viking gnome. That way this fella won't be lonely all his life. He'll have a little buddy that he can sit beside on a shelf. We got another piece of scrap wood here that I had left over again from the newel post, and this is what we're going to use to make our Lady Viking gnome. It's a big piece. We'll have to take quite a bit of material off of it, but in the end she'll look spectacular, I think. So, and our little fellow over there on the bench, he'll have a friend for the rest of his life to sit on a shelf with. So we're just gonna put this onto the lathe, same as what we did in our last video. Just have our center mark roughly there. Take our little spindle, little chuck I guess, and you just put it in the center and you give it a few taps and the teeth will lock in. And we have our center marked on the other side, so we'll just bring this up to it. We're dead on there now. Tighten up, give it a little roll. That'll squeeze everything in place, and we'll lock it down. And we'll get started on shaping the Lady Viking gnome. I don't think I've seen too many Lady Viking gnomes. I have done one myself, but it's been a while, so we'll, like I said, we'll take our time at it. Show you the step-by-step as we always will do, and we'll start shaping them. Or her, I should say. Okay, we got the body pretty much done. The head is pretty much done. Her nose will be right here. And her helmet is almost done. I'll make it more of a point when I get closer to the sanding. So I'm going to sand it now, see how it looks. And then we'll make a little point up towards the helmet before we cut it off. And then we'll take it over, cut off the bottom, cut off the top. And we'll have our body and head and helmet ready. We're just sanding again with 150 grit sandpaper, and then we'll go to 220 to make it a little bit smoother. Use the 150 first because it takes the lines out and little marks out quicker. And then you go to the 220 to make it a little finer. So we're almost there with the 150, and then we'll go down to the 220. There, we're all done turning her on the lathe. So we got her good and sanded with the 220 grit. That's going to be her body here. That's her little head, and there goes her helmet is up through here. So that's where her horns will come out. Her little nose, well, big nose will be there. Her two arms will be there. And we'll make a spear and a shield, just like we did on her little gnome that she's got to be with for the rest of her life. So we'll take her over to the bench. We'll cut the top off. Just do a little hand sanding to make that a point on her helmet. Cut the little part off on the bottom. There, we got her bottom cut off, her top cut off. We just got to sand this to a point on her helmet, and we'll hand sand that. Don't have to really show you that on the camera. It's just sand and sand and sand until you get the point that you're happy with. In the bottom, I usually set my belt sander up on my vise for the bottom, and I just lock it into place and turn it on, and I sand the bottom here till it's fairly smooth, so the little piece that's sticking out that we cut off is flush, so it'll sit flat on a counter or desk or a mantle or wherever something like this is going to be put. And we have our little fellow that's in our shed. He's been watching us fairly carefully. He's wondering how much longer his lady friend is going to take to be done. I told him, hold on to your horses. It'll be another probably half hour. He said, okay, that's fine. So it'll be another half hour or so, and she'll be done. Like I said, we'll show you everything step by step, just like we will always do in every video I do. Doing her arms, doing the nose, doing the horns, shield, burning process. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to show you start to finish of every project that I do. And just to show you how easy this is to make. It took me, like I said, a half hour, maybe 25 minutes, half hour on the lathe to make it to this point. Just because we had a lot of material that we had to cut off. And yeah, so I mean, we're to this point fairly quickly. And like I said, anybody can do this. Anybody. I'm telling you, can do something like this. You just gotta willing to try. I have no measurements. I didn't have any measurements to come out into the shed. Didn't really know what a Lady Viking really looks like. I did one, like I said, maybe, I don't know, I can't remember how long ago. It's been a while. And she turned out fine. And I'll show you her as well in the end when we're done this little one. And we'll show them side by side, and then we'll show you them all together just to show you that anybody could do this. It's very easy to do. This isn't something very spectacular. It's just something that I think anybody could start with if they want to start to use a lathe. Got our belt sander locked into my vise, and we're going to sand the bottom of our gnome to get it smooth that we couldn't get done on the lathe. So I'll turn on the belt sander. It'll be a little noisy for a minute or two, and we'll just quickly do the bottom. So here we go. Turn her on. So there, we sanded the bottom. Don't really have to get all the lines out. I just want it smooth so it doesn't scratch whatever you're putting it on. So now we're going to burn her helmet, and then we'll start on her arms and her nose. We're going to burn the helmet now. I already sanded the top here. And I'm going to use a bigger torch this time compared to what I used in my last video, which was a small butane torch, just a handheld one. But I just want to do that to show you don't have to have a small torch. You can use a big one and it'll work just fine. So we'll light her up. Turn it on. She's lit. And then we'll just go around doing the exact same process, just slowly burning it. Gets too hot, go to another side. Just darkening it up. Ooh, that's a big flame that time. There we go. Just even and consistent all the way around. We'll do the bottom first, I guess. Like I said, if you get it too dark, you burn too much on one part of it, you just gotta sand it off. and then burn it again if you need to. Maybe that burn will be perfectly fine. So we just go around, keep going around, get it nice and dark. Catches fire for a second, all you can do is blow it out. It's not going to catch completely on fire, of course. You're not putting that much heat on one spot for too long. There, side's done. I'll start doing the top of her helmet. Just go around slowly. Her helmet's not as big as the last gnome we did. So it's pretty easy to do this. I mean, it's just a torch. Like I said, any torch will do, so long as it's a flame. And you just slowly turn and burn. Like I said, anybody could do this. There, now we're just going to do around the top. Sometimes the tip will catch fire, and then you just got to blow it out. And I think that might, a little more on this side, on the bottom here. No real big cracks opened up this time. Like I said, if you get a crack open up, a little one on that side, all you gotta do is take some sawdust with some glue, fill in the crack, let it dry, and sand it and burn it again. So I think, like there a little bit. I think that looks good there. Well, we just turn off our torch. Should shut off here in a second. There. So there. Her helmet's all burnt. Torch is off. I just set it on the floor. We got this little scrap of baluster. I have all kinds of little scraps of balusters around that I got out of an old house, but like I said, you can use any piece of wood, piece of pine, a piece of 2x4. Doesn't have to be round because you're putting it on the lathe and it will go round. This is just what I have laying around, so that's what I use. Whatever I have laying around, this is scrap to me, so I'm going to use it. So this we're going to use to make her nose and 2 arms. Her arms and nose won't be as big as her little buddy that's sitting over there. She's got a little skinnier of a body, so we won't need as big of a nose and 2 arms. So we'll probably cut it right around here, and then we'll go over to the lathe. Got our little baluster over here on the lathe. Just going to do the same process we did when we first did the body. Take our little chuck with the teeth onto it. Find roughly your center. Put the tip of it into the center. Just like that. Just set it down. Give it a couple good whacks. Teeth get locked in. We'll tap on this side. There, so the teeth are locked in. Just insert it. Line up our other side here. Right in the center, which is roughly there. Lock a couple handles. Spin it in. Tightens everything up to each other from both sides. And then we lock that and she'll be ready to turn. So I just want to show you that things come up sometimes, but you got to move on from it. I pressed a little too hard when I was thinning out the little nub that's going to go into the actual gnome. And when I pressed too hard, it split and it fell out. So I can't make it all of the one piece, not a big deal. The other part will go in the guards, but I still be able to salvage the nose out of it. I'll just have to make the 2 arms out of another piece. Like I said, Things come up, you make mistakes. It's a learning curve, no big deal. Throw that little piece out, start over again. You're out 5-10 minutes. So there, we got the nose done after our little mistake. Not a big deal, like I said. So there's going to be our nose right here. We'll cut this piece off here, that'll leave. That'll be the front of the nose, that'll be the little shaft that'll go into the actual gnome when we drill our hole. And I just have another scrap piece of wood. Use this to make both arms. And yeah, that's what happens sometimes. You make a mistake or something goes wrong. It's not the end of the world. Doesn't mean you give up on the project you're doing. You just find another piece of scrap wood or whatever you're working on that you need. You usually can find something that'll replace what you did. And like I said, you get a little upset sometimes or frustrated that things go wrong, but in the end it all turns out the same anyway. So yeah, so we'll make the arms out of this. Gonna cut off the part that we need for the nose now. So this will be the front, so I'll cut that off first just with the fine saw side of the saw. So just gently cut it. Okay, so that piece can go in the garbage. This is our nose. That's the front right here. We'll take a little bit of sandpaper and we'll sand that down, hand sand it. I'll actually show you, it's not a big deal. And this is the part now that will go inside the body, so we'll cut that off now. There. So there's the nose. There's the nub that's going to go inside the hole we're going to drill in her face. And that's the front of the nose. And all we do for the front of the nose to sand off where we cut off from the lathe just now, or from the actual saw, we just hand sand it like this with 150 sandpaper. And you're just trying to get everything, all the little marks that you just sawing off. Takes about not even 5 minutes. You go from 150 sandpaper, you just keep circling around as you're going, so you're not getting it flat on one side or the other. You just keep turning it as you're sanding it. And I got it on cloth here where it makes it a little more concave, which makes it easier to sand something that's round. There, the marks are coming out of it now. Just a little bit on one side. Keep turning it as I go. Just turn it, no rhyme or reason. Just keep turning it on its end like this and that. And that way you get a pretty good circle of the nose. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Doing the best that we can. That's all we're doing. And that's all you can do. I think the nose is starting to come pretty good here now. Yeah, so like I said, we made a mistake over on the lathe. I put too much pressure on when I was trying to make these little parts here that go into the body. And I put too much pressure on my chisel. My chisel was plenty sharp, but I just made the mistake, put too much pressure, and it broke away. But we still salvaged something out of it. And like I said, it's not a big deal. We got another scrap of wood. And I mean, if that's all you're out is a scrap of wood, it's not a big deal. I mean, like I said, you get frustrated sometimes with making mistakes, and I totally get that, but that's your learning process, right? I'm still learning how to use the lathe, and it's just like any tool you use. You have to use it in order to be comfortable with it, and by using it, yeah, you're going to make some mistakes doing woodworking or carving or whatever your hobby is. I mean, you're going to make mistakes. I mean, that's a part of life. It says it takes 10,000 hours to become good at something of practice, so I mean, that's a lot of hours, but I mean, I don't know if it'll take that long for a person to get good at something. But yeah, it still does take time. And like I said, the best in the world make mistakes at doing pretty much anything they do. You just don't see it. They don't make probably as many mistakes, but they still make mistakes. So there, we're done with that sandpaper. So I got a little piece of 220 here, and I'll just go like this now and stay in the front of the nose. Just all around. And this nose will be oiled just like the rest of the body and the arms. So we keep going over it like that until the scratches are out of the front of the nose where we cut off. And that nose will be ready to be drilled into the body. Everything's all laid out on the bench. There's the nose, there's the two arms. We already had the hole drilled for the nose. So this little fella is going to go in. It's still a big nose, but it's not as big as the arm. And once she gets her hair and her beard, there's gnomes, they're supposed to have big noses. They're supposed to look funny. So we'll take her nose out. I marked one spot here and one spot on the opposite, roughly as best you can get them. And we're going to drill our two holes to put our arms in. I'm going to drill them on just a little bit of an angle this way, so that way they'll be up a little bit like this instead of just straight out. So I'm going to drill one now. A little bit deeper. So that one's deep enough. I'll turn it to the other side. Try to get it right on my mark. Little angle just like the other side. Everything should be deep enough now. Blow a little dust out. So our nose goes in. Our arm fits in perfectly this time. Don't have to shave any of the little nub off. Oh, wait a sec. I put my arm where my nose is going. So there's my nose. Put one arm in. Didn't have to shave nothing this time. It worked out good. So there's our arms. And her nose is in. And like I said, we'll do a little shield just like her friend on this arm. And we'll do a spear on that arm. And we'll burn both of those. We'll burn the shield fully again. And we'll burn just the tip of the spear. And we'll just have to go over to the lathe 2 more little times. And she'll be ready to be put all together. And we're going to braid her hair in the front. She'll have long flowing hair in the back. And yeah, she'll be ready for her little buddy. He's waiting for her here in the shed. As you can see, I got a lot of noses and a lot of arms sitting on the table now. I decided against going with the arms and noses I had. I still thought they were a little too big, so I went over on the lathe and I made a few extra ones. So I decided to go with this for her nose, which is a little smaller than what we were going to go with over here. And I made 2 more arms. So there's one, there's the other. They were a little smaller than what she had previously, and I just thought the other ones were a little too big. So like I said, it took me another 10 minutes to make a few, and these extra ones I can use on another gnome at another time. And now we're going to go over. I'm going to use this piece of scrap wood to make her little shield. It'll just be the end here. And I got a scrap piece of dowel that I'll use to make her spear. So we'll go over to the lathe. We'll make both those things. So we're going to make the shield now. We're just going to use a tiny little piece on this end. The rest of it we can use for something else at another time. So we're just going to make the shield so it's a little concave in the front. So it's the front of the shield, and then we'll have a little nub coming out the back, which will go on the arm of the little Viking lady gnome. That took us all but 2 minutes, if that. So that's going to be the shield right here. That'll be the front. We'll curve on the front, and that'll go in the body. Okay, we got our shield done. It's over on the nook, and now we're going to make the spear. So I just get, like I said, an old piece of dowel, and we'll thin it down where it goes through the body, and we'll put a little tip on for the point of the spear, and we'll take it over to the table. We're just checking to see if the shaft is the same size as the hole we're drilling with this drill bit. I just got to go a little bit thinner on the shaft and it'll be done to sand. And I'm not putting much pressure on my chisel because I don't want to take off a lot of material and I don't want this little skinny spindle here to snap. So I think I got her to where I want her now. Now I can just sand it. So there, we're all done on the lathe. This is the last thing we had to make on the lathe was the spear. So there's the spear. That's the tip there. That's the body of the spear. Well, not the body, the shaft of the spear. And that'll go into the arm. And we'll cut it off there. We'll cut it off there. That'll be the bottom. That's the top. And it'll slide down the hole that we're going to make into the arm. So I'm just going to show you how we cut off the points, the bottom and the top of the spear. We just use our same little Japanese handsaw. You can really use any saw. It doesn't have to be a Japanese handsaw. And yeah, we're just going to make two little cuts. So this is the tip of the spear. Quick and easy little cut. That's the tip. Now we'll cut off the bottom. Oh, get me blanket here caught up in me saw. Move my shield. Sorry about that. I really shouldn't even have this blanket here when I'm cutting. It's going to bring over a little piece of scrap wood. We'll set that on so it won't get caught in the blanket. I just lay everything on a blanket so it doesn't get scratched up after you sand everything. There. So there's the tip of the spear. I'm just going to sand it, hand sand it, and that's the bottom. I'm going to hand sand that a little round, and I'll show you that actually right now. So I'll just use this little piece of scrap wood to do it on. And for the bottom, I just go on an angle like that, and just keep spinning the little spear around, and eventually it'll come to a nice rounded bottom. It'll take the sharp edges off of it. And it only takes a minute or so. Just a quick little sand. It's already starting to round. Like I said, it don't have to be a perfectly round. And once I'm done on this, I'll actually use a little piece of sandpaper and use both hands with the sandpaper instead of just rubbing it on. So I'm getting to the point where I really want to be. So it's rounded a little bit. Sorry for my arm. So now I'm just taking a little piece of sandpaper and I just go gently like this around. Keep spinning the spear, hit the bottom, hit all the sides, and just keep spinning it. You just don't want a jagged point on the bottom. Same with the top, you don't want a jagged. I mean, you cut it so it's going to have rough wood. So you're just taking off some rough wood to make it a little rounded. And I think that's all right for the bottom. Happy with that. So there's the bottom. We just rounded off right there. So now we're going to do the tip. And the same with the tip. I usually just go with the sandpaper first. Put my spear on an angle. Just like you have a pencil in your hand. And you just keep turning your spear as you're sanding. And that way it'll get you close to a tip. Take off that jagged wood that we just cut off with the handsaw. And go on the tip a little bit too to get the marks out. You don't need an exact point. I mean, it ain't a real spear, obviously. You're just taking the rough edges off. That's all you were doing. And I'm almost to the point there now. So now I do the same thing. I take my little sandpaper and I just keep turning the spear in a circle on my fingers and keep sanding until I'm happy with what I got. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's all your preference, and it all turns out in the end. Don't matter how you make it look. It'll look like a spear in the end. And there's our spear. So now we'll drill our holes into our arms and we'll be able to insert the spear. So I didn't show you before, there's our final product for our little shield. And there's our little back. I kind of put a line around the shield, make it a little different than the other one, so when you burn it you'll actually see that line a little bit. Just makes it different than another shield. And you just seen us finish up our spear. So now we'll drill holes into the arms. One will just go a little ways in just so we can fit our little nub into the arm, and the other one will drill right through the arm so the spear can recess right into it. So I'm going to drill, and we're just going to drill on a little angle. You can take it out if you're not comfortable drilling it in the body. I don't have nothing glued here yet. You can put it on the vise and a little piece of cloth, and I think that's what we'll do for this one. And we may do it for this one as well. The one that goes through, I like to put it on the vise and just squeeze it in with a little bit of cloth so you don't dent it or whatnot. And this one here, like I said, we're just putting a hole in like we did the nose. The nose isn't glued yet. And just so you can insert it just like that. So I can take the nose out right now too. And if I feel it's moving around and I don't feel safe with it going in, I will take it out and put it on the vise. But right now we're just going to start a little hole. I usually go on a little angle. You don't really have to go on an angle because you can turn your arm to wherever you want the shield, up or down. So just start drilling. A little further. Blow it out. See if our shield fits, and it does. Shield fits perfectly. I am going to just cut a little bit off the back of the shield, of the little piece that goes in. I just feel it's a little too long. I mean, you could leave it like that. It looks perfectly fine. It's just in the back there. I just like to have a little bit more off it, but I may leave it just like that. I think it looks good like that, actually. So we're going to burn that, and now we'll go over to the vise, and I'll show you to drill the hole right through this arm to fit our spear into. We're over on the vise now, just a vise that screws into the table. You could have a smaller vise, you don't need a bigger vise. This is about a medium-sized vise. And vices are good to have in your workshop. They hold things secure while you're trying to work on something. So all I'm doing is putting a little piece of cloth there so we don't dent up, because these have teeth into them, so things grip onto. So it just doesn't dent up the arm too much while we'll lock it in place while we drill the hole in. So I'm just going to tighten it up a little bit. Not a whole lot, just so it's snug. And if we have to tighten up a little more, we can. And if you do put a few dents in it, all you got to do is go over and we'll sand it on a little piece of sandpaper again until we get it smooth. So I'm going to start drilling. I think right around there should be good. If I feel it moves, I'll give it a little snug again. We're almost halfway through. And I always feel to the back, because as soon as the tip of my drill gets out to the back, I stop and flip it around. That way your wood won't blow out. And that means you'll have a rough, jagged edge on your other side. So until I feel the point come out the back, that's why I feel every so often down here. A little tight again. Oh, a little tighter. There, I can feel it out the back, so I just back it out. Pop it out. And you can see the holes coming through the other side there. There's where we started. And there's where we're at. So now I put that side in. And I just give it a little tighten. And it won't take much now to get through it because you're pretty much there. So. There, we're through. So there's our hole going right through. And I did scratch up a little bit the front, so all I'll do is sand that a little bit on the bench over here, and it'll be ready to go into the body with the spear. There, so our lovely Lady Viking gnome. We'll take it all apart and just show you. There she is bare with her helmet. And we'll put one arm in. We'll put her other arm. Oh, we won't put the other arm in. We'll put her shield in. Put her nose in. I usually like going up and down with the grain myself. It makes it look, I don't know, a little better, I guess. And now I'll put the spear in our hole. And it's snug. I want it to around about there. It's going to be glued into there so it'll never move. And then we just put our spear in to our arm into the body, I should say. And there she is. She's ready for her hair. She's going to have braids in the front, and my wife will help me with that because I really don't know how to braid here. It's just a yarn I think she's going to use, and we'll show you that. And she makes a little hair about that long in the back of her, and then she'll look like a proper little Lady Viking. And then we'll glue her hair on in her braids, and we'll show you how we do that. And then we'll oil her up. But right now we're going to burn our shield, and we're going to burn the tip of our spear, and we'll do that same as we did the helmet with the propane torch. Got our big torch. You can use a small one, you use a big one, doesn't matter so long as it burns. So this one here, you just turn on the gas, I guess you call it, and we'll light it. She's lit. You can't really see the flame. So we'll just hold the tip of the spear, and we just slowly burn it. Just keep turning it because it's only small. It's almost done now. There. It's done. There's the tip. And the shield, I'm just going to lay it on this piece of wood. I don't want to burn my cloth, and it's just something to lay it on. And I'll just burn it slowly like this. Go to the bottom, and then as I get one side burnt here on the bottom, I'll flip it over, and I'll do the back. Just move it all around. It's only small, so you got to move around quite a bit. It's pretty much done there. Flip it over. It's a little hot, so you got to be careful. And we'll just burn the back of it as well. No one's really going to see the back, but so the back is almost there. Just blow it with a little fire. She's burnt good in the back. A little more in the front. Like I said, it catches fire, no big deal, just blow it out. You're putting a lot of heat on a small piece of wood, so you can keep your distance a little further. Keep blowing it out, not a big deal. There, I think that's good. So I'll turn off my gas, and that'll go out. I'll set that on the floor, away from me. We'll put the spear back in. There's her spear. There's her shield. And there she is. She's ready for hair and oil. And she'll be done. I think she looks pretty good. Like I said, her buddy over here is waiting for you, and we'll show them side by side once we get done. And I think they'll have a good life together sitting on someone's shelf. I'm not going to keep them myself because I have another Lady Viking gnome. I only have 2 gnomes in my house. And one's, what you've seen in my last video, was a little male Viking gnome, I guess. And I have a little female Viking gnome that goes in the shelf in the house on our hutch. And this pair here, I'll probably end up just giving away. It's just something I wanted to show you how fun and easy it is to make. Like I said, anybody can make this. It's simple and easy to do. And I think this is great for a first-time project of someone on the lathe. Just gonna glue everything in place. I just got some carpenter's glue, And we'll glue the nose and the arms on. I don't think I have to glue the spear in because it's pretty snug in there. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And we'll glue the shield on. So we'll start with the nose. All we're doing is squeezing a little glue into the hole. Just like that. A little more. So it's got lots of glue in the hole. And I always like to put a little bit on the little piece that goes in. A little bit on the end, just a little bit on the sides. Don't need a whole lot. And we insert it in the hole. It's in the hole. Not really any excess oil or glue to come out. I think a little bit on the bottom. And all you have to do is just, to get inside there any excess glue, just take a little piece of paper towel and rub it underneath like that. And that'll grab any excess glue that might have squeezed out. So there, the nose is in. Grain I like to have up and down with the body. That's just my preference. Doesn't matter, I guess, but that's just my preference. So now we'll glue the arm into the body. Same process, just fill the hole up, not all the way, just a little bit. A little more. Same thing, just go on the arm, a little bit on the tip, a little bit around. And same thing, we'll just squeeze it in. We want it pointed up, sort of. Her shield, we don't want it pointed to the ground. And I see a little bit of glue on the bottom there. I just go like this. Stick the paper towel in the little crack under her arm. And the glue is gone. Give her a good push in. It's in tight. Now we'll put the shield in. A little glue inside the hole. There. A little bit around the little nub of the shield. Don't need a lot. Doesn't take much. Glue's really strong when it gets in there. So there's that. We'll put the shield in. Turn it the way we want it. I think turn there. I think it's up pretty good. Check the back. There's a little excess glue in there. All we're doing is take our little piece of paper towel. And we're getting the glue off. I think we got it. No one's really going to look in the back anyways, but I still like to get it off myself. That's just my preference. Just make it the best you possibly can. So that's glued. We got it tipped up to where we want it. Now glue the other arm in. Like I said, we're not going to glue the spear because it's pretty tight in the hole, which is snug, so it's not going to go nowhere. So fill up the hole a little bit. Oh, flip her back over. Same process, a little bit on the end, a little bit around the sides. Don't need a whole lot. There we go. Put that in the hole. Give it a good push. Put it up to where we want it. I think is pretty good right there. I see a little excess glue. Same process. I'll get a different piece of paper towel. A little piece over here. And I just go in like that. And that'll take out any excess glue that you see. That you may see when it's done. Glue usually dries a little bit lighter. Let's go down top. And there. It's all glued up. Took us all about 1 minute. And you just let that set now. And once the glue is dry, then we can start her hair. With all the excitement of how quick she was coming together, I forgot one very important part of her. Can you guess what it is? Yes, that's right. It's the horns. She wouldn't be much of a little Viking without the horns coming out of her helmet. So I got this little piece of scrap wood that I used to make the horns of her last gnome. And I'll draw a little bit of smaller horns for her helmet where she's a little tinier. And yeah, we'll go to the bandsaw and we'll cut them out and we'll carve them. And we'll get them drilled out and glued in place. Okay, we're over on the bandsaw ready to cut our horns. I drawed what I think would be a good size for her horn coming out of her helmet. And we'll cut this one out and then I'll use that as a template to cut the other side out. So start the bandsaw up and get it cutting. cut a couple little pieces off. So there's one side cut. Now I'm just going to draw lines from a point to the end here, and that way I'll cut it on this if I can. If not, I'll just carve it over on the bench. So I draw a few lines to make it more triangular, and we're going to cut that on the bandsaw if I can. If I find it's too small to cut, I'll just carve it with a knife. So there's one horn cut on the bandsaw. It just has to be taken over to the nook, and we'll rough carve it to the shape we want. And I'll just cut the other one out, use this as a template, and yeah, we'll be ready to carve them and put the horns in our helmet. Got both our horns here rough shaped. I was able to do everything on the bandsaw. One's a little bigger than the other, so when I carve them with the knife, I'll try to make them more this size, this fella. That way they'll be more even. So all we're doing, using a cheap utility knife. You use a jackknife, any sharp blade I guess you can get your hands on. And we're just going to start shaving the corners off. And that way it'll make it more round. So you just take your time. No rush. Just take little pieces off at a time. We want it roughly shaped anyways, because that's what an antler would be lots of pits and dents and stuff into it. And when we burn it, I'll show you the burning of this as well. It'll look perfectly fine. It'll be a nice looking antler horn that'll go in the little Viking's helmet. Like I said, it's easy process. We're using just a cheap old utility knife. It's what first thing I grabbed. So I do have jackknives and other knives, but it's the first thing I grabbed. It's got a sharp blade, and it's perfect for doing something like this. You just take little pieces off at a time. If you take too much off, all you gotta do, if you feel it's no good, just go back over to the bandsaw and make another one. Take you another 2 minutes to make it. Little slivers off here and there. We're just trying to make it so this is more of a round. This is the little piece that will go into the helmet when we drill a hole, and I'll have to shape that a little bit. It doesn't have to be round. It'll be a little more round than what it is now. It's a rectangle right now, but yeah, we're just taking little pieces off until we get probably the size we feel is appropriate for this little lady's helmet, because her helmet's a lot smaller than her little friend that's sitting here on the counter waiting for her. So she's got a smaller helmet, so she needs smaller horns. So that's what we did. We made horns that we think are going to be a little more proportionate to her helmet and body. Well, we got our antlers or horns all carved for her helmet, and I give them a little light sand, which is 150 sandpaper. So I marked a line here and roughly opposite the same on the other side. And I'm going to use a different drill bit because my little stubby piece here is a little thinner than the ones we were using for the nose and ears, so I went with a smaller drill bit. So I'm going to just start drilling her hole on one side and flip it over, do it on the other side, and we'll be able to insert her horns and get them glued in. So I think right there. That's plenty deep. Blow out the hole. Take a look on the other side, see if my thing is roughly evened up, and I think it is. So I'm going to drill right there. Blow it out. See if it fits. Don't want to put too much pressure on it. And it fits. So there's one of her horns. Our horn is ready to burn, so I'm just going to turn on my big torch here. She's lit. Now we're just going to burn the antler. And it's only small. Oh, it fell off my piece of wood. I think that looks good. So there's one antler done. We'll do the same for the other one, and we'll insert it into the helmet, and we'll glue them both in. Just gonna glue the other horn in now, just show you how to do that. It's the same as we did for the nose and the shield and the arms. So I'm just gonna fill it up with glue. I put quite a bit of glue in this one because this horn was a little loose. So I just push it in to exactly where I want it. Ugh. There, she's in. See, there's some excess glue that fell out, so we'll just wipe all that off. Just use a piece of paper towels, all we got to use. It's not going to set up immediately. So all I'm going to do for, you see the excess glue right there, I just take my paper towel, I stick it down to rub it back and forth, and eventually you'll get all the glue. Get a new piece of paper towel. Too much glue on that one. Let's go down inside her antler on the top here again. Just rub it back and forth. That way you get down in the crevice. And I'll flip her. Do it on her side. Do it on her bottom. Do it on the front. Give it a little wipe around if there's any excess. We got those done now. That didn't take too long, and we'll get back onto her hair now, and then we'll oil her all up. And like I said, my wife's gonna braid the hair for me in the front here that comes down her sides, and then her hair is gonna be quite long in the back, and she'll do that for me too because I really don't know how to braid hair. So it's always nice to get some help from someone else. I mean, like I said, she has knowledge of braiding where I don't. And yeah, so it'll all work out. We're in the house now, and my wife is going to start doing the little Lady Viking gnome's hair in her back, and her little braids are in her front, but she's going to start with the hair in the back. And all she does for that is she cuts a little piece of ribbon, and she measures it from horn to horn in the back, and then she cuts that to size, and that's what she's going to attach the hair to. So she cuts the hair lengths, just any length really at all. Doesn't have to be too long, so long as it covers some of her body, and we can trim it afterwards. So she actually uses yarn that's called Fentex because you can comb it and it'll go fuzzy to make her hair kind of fuzzy looking. So she just takes a hot glue gun and she takes the individual strands that she cut for the back of the hair and she glues them onto the ribbon that she's already pre-cut. and she just keeps going along till the ribbon's completely covered. So she got the first layer of the yarn or the hair onto the ribbon, and now she's going over with the glue gun and she's going to put a second layer on top, and that way it'll make her hair nice and thick in the back. Both layers are glued now on top of the ribbon. Now she's going to glue 3 strands of yarn going crosswise, and that way it'll hold all the hair together and won't fall off the little lady gnome. My wife's got all 3 strands of yarn going over the top crossways now. She's just trimming the top off with the scissors, as you can see. And then she's going to fit it onto the Viking to see where she's going to trim off on the sides. I guess she already did that because she's trimming off one side. Now she's doing the other one. And that'll fit in between from horn to horn up under her helmet in the back. And then we'll move on to the braids for her front. So there it is on the back. And she's going to comb it out with a comb, the hair, and that'll make it fuzzy, and then she'll trim off all the bottom because she's got a lot of hair there right now actually, so she'll trim off the bottom to make it look shorter and tidier, I guess. Just combing it with a regular hair comb, and the more she combs it, the more fuzzy the hair will become. It won't look like as much like yarn as it will like hair. And once she gets that done, she'll cut it to length, and then we'll glue it on the back of the head under the helmet. It's all combed out. It's nice and long, and I think we're going to actually keep it long because I think it looks better with long hair than it would with short. It would look good, I guess, with short hair as well, but I think it looks, on this one, we're going to keep it long. Now we're going to move on to the braids. We'll glue this in place, and then we'll do the braids. So we're starting the braiding process, at least my wife is. She starts with a little piece and ties a knot around the hair at the top. So she's using 6 pieces of yarn, and she's dividing them up into 3 rows. And then she ties a little knot with a piece of yarn up top and pins it to the mat that she has. And then she starts to braid. Like I said, if I don't know how to braid, my wife knows how to braid, so she's doing it for me. If you don't know how to braid and you have a friend or someone else that can braid for you, that's fine. If you know how to braid, that's great too. So she just keeps going crisscrossing, I guess, underneath until she gets to the bottom or the length that she wants. Looks pretty simple. I think I probably could do it. Looks like she's probably halfway done. Just depends how long we're going to do the braid. We're doing the hair fairly long, so I guess we're going to make the braid almost as long. So she's done the braid. She's just tying a piece of yarn at the bottom onto the braid itself, just to hold it so it doesn't come apart. And then she'll take it off the pin and size it up to the little Lady Viking gnome and see if it's the right length. And if it's not, she said she'll cut it to length. And then we'll be able to glue the back of the hair on and the braids on. So the braid is up against the little gnome right now. It's already tied on the top when she first started the braid. Now she's going to cut it right around here. She tied a little knot right there. And then once she cuts it, she'll be able to fray the bottom of it as well to make it look the same as the back of the hair does. So there, she got the knot tied down bottom. She frayed the bottom of the braid, the hair. We don't got it glued yet. She's just got it up into place, but that's one braid done. We'll do another one for the other side, and then we're ready to go down and shed the nook and glue them on, and then we'll be able to oil her and she'll be all finished. We're back out into the nook now, and my wife got all the braids done, the 2 braids we needed, and her hair that goes in the back of her. This is the back here. There's that piece of ribbon that she glued all the hair to. And then there's the piece of 3 pieces that she went crossways on the front of it, just so you won't see the ribbon and stuff, and it just holds everything better together with the hot glue. because she hot glued this as well. So we're going to hot glue this onto the back of her head under her helmet first, and then we'll do her 2 little braids. We'll glue them on each side under her helmet in the front and hang them down in the front of her body. So wait for the hot glue gun to heat up, and then we'll glue the back of her hair on. We're just going to apply the glue under the helmet and try to evenly space it in between the horns in the back. So we'll put some glue both under the helmet and on the actual hair itself. So I'm going to apply it on the hair first. There, it's squeezing out good. Get it all on the ribbon really good. I'll get a little bit up the top on the hair itself, right over to the edge. Like I said, if we have any excess, we can cut it off just like we did before. Put a little bit under her helmet here. I don't have to go right up under it. So there, we got the glue on. I'm going to take it. Oh, I got some on my fingers too. And we're going to try to center it the best we can in between the 2 horns, which I think is probably a little more that way. Right around there. A little tug more. There. I think that's good. Get this glue off my finger, and I just use the butt end of the scissors and press down firmly onto it so the glue is nice and tight. Then didn't get some glue here, so I'm gonna go over to the side here and put some glue. Press it in, hold it there till the glue sets up. Hot glue sets up pretty quickly. Go to the other side. There's a little piece of glue there. I'm going to take the scissors and actually cut that excess glue off. A little snip snip if I can get it. There, got it. I'm going to take the glue gun, give it a good squeeze in there, and press it down there as well. And I'll have to cut out some glue there. Get some of it off of my fingers. Yeah, so that's pretty easy to glue her hair on. And I'll let that set up a bit, and then I'll do her braids in the front. With the back of her hair all glued on, all cleaned up. Now I'm going to glue on her braids, and I'm just going to put some glue on the gnome or the hair and just press it in like that, and then she'll have 1 braid on one side. So we're just going to put the hot glue actually right on the hair. Without getting glue all over my fingers. There, that's enough glue. So we got the glue on. I'll just press it in place, hold it there for a second. The glue will set up. And if there's any excess glue, we'll just cut it off. Because you're bound to get a little glue on spots that you really don't want it on, but you just let it dry. You can either use the X-Acto knife and just cut a little bit off. If you can get at it with the scissors, you could do that as well. So that side should be all right. So now we'll glue this side. See if I can get her to sit right so I can do it. So she won't roll over. I'll put something under. I'll stuff the piece of paper towel under. There. That's good. So now I'll go with the hot glue gun again. And we'll squeeze a little bit on the back. That should be enough. And just take it, put it up under her horn, and just give a little press. So there, both sides are done. Up under her head, I'm just going to cut off a little bit of excess glue that I have on this side. You can see a couple little white spots, and that's right easy. Like I said, once it's completely dry, I'll clean it up, and then we'll give her a little shakedown and a little trim, and then we'll be able to oil her. We're ready to oil her all down, and I just have oil that I use up in my house on our countertops, but you can, like I said, use any oil, linseed oil, tongue oil, any kind of oil at all, vegetable oil if you really had to. I have linseed oil in the shed here, but I've got this in my hand, so this is what I'm going to use. So I just take a little bit and pour it into a little cup that you use to rinse your mold out with, mouthwash I guess. And we take Q-tips and we dip it in the oil. And I usually start on the nose. I start on the stuff that we haven't burnt first, because when you do the burnt stuff first, it'll get on your actual bare wood because the soot comes off on the Q-tip. So we just go around her nose. You already see it getting shiny. Doesn't take very long at all to do the oiling. Squeeze it all down in, make sure it gets all in behind her nose and on the front of her nose. Wherever you don't see, you do that as well. You do as much as you can. There we go. So her nose is all done. So now I'll just start working around her face. Both sides of her cheeks, I guess. Right up into the hairline. Right to where you started gluing the braids on. And you can lift everything up a little bit to get under if you have to. You can lift her braids up a little bit, and I probably will when I get over there. So we're just doing her front first. So there. So that part's done. I just have an old rag here. And I'll just wipe off some of the excess. A little piece of glue there. We'll get that out of the way. And just wipe the excess oil off. No special way about it. You just don't need it. You get the oil on, then you're wiping it off. We're just giving it some protection. That's all we're doing. And the wood won't get as dirty with oil on it as it would if it had bare wood. So there, that part's done on it. So I guess I'll move on to her, I guess, top of her neck, I guess you would call it. We'll go to here in the front. Just moving, dipping your Q-tip or cotton swab, whatever you want to call it, into the oil. And we're just putting it on anywhere where it's not old. We're going to hit the oil to it. Just gives the wood a little bit of color as well. Wood comes alive with oil onto it. Really shows the grains of wood. And I believe this is actually probably Douglas fir. Like I said, it's from an old newel post from a house from the 1800s. And a lot of stuff back then that was built around here was built with Douglas fir. You don't see housing construction built as much with Douglas fir anymore. It'd be awful expensive. It's mostly spruce and pine. There, so I think we got that side done. We're lifting her braids up just a touch, just to get some oil. Doesn't matter if you get it on the hair. It's not staining the hair. It'll just dry. You don't get a ton on it. So there, that part's done. Pluck some hair off her nose. No, I guess I'll do her spear. Goes on pretty easily. Like I said, all we're using is a cotton swab, so can't get much easier than that. Yeah, so I didn't know how to braid hair. It's not something I really ever learned to do. I do have a daughter, but I never actually braided her hair when she was a child. And I just, something I never picked up was braiding rope or hair. I could braid certain kinds of rope for bracelets and stuff, but my wife knew how to do it and just went up and asked her if she would do it for me. Of course, she said no problem at all. And yeah, so if you can't do something on your own, that's one little thing that I couldn't do on this. I probably could have did the hair, but she did it all at once, so it worked out well. But yeah, if you don't know how to do something yourself, I'm sure if you have a friend or a neighbor or a relative, anybody that would know how to do it, they would do it for you. I'm just going to do the tip of the spear here, and then I'm going to throw this Q-tip out because it starting to fall off the actual stick, the swab. So we'll give it another little wipe down where we just did, up under her braids, by her neck, over towards this arm. Give the spear a little wipe. Okay, so now I'll finish doing this arm while I'm on this side. And you just flip her upside down or wherever you possibly can do to get any kind of wood in, like these little cracks here under her arm. You still want to get oil there. You don't see it, but I still like to get some oil there. So that arm's done. So we'll move over to the shield in this arm. So we'll do the arm first so we won't get soot onto the bare wood. So I'll do around her neck first, and then down towards her arm. Flip her over here. There, we're getting the oil there. Now you can see it. Turn a nice color. My swab's falling apart already. But like I said, we're using a cotton swab. They don't cost that much. We use probably 6 or 7 of them maybe to do this. And then we'll throw it out. And like I said, flip it to the other side as well. And that's what I'm doing now. Just flip it to the other side. I'm going to do the back of the shield because I got the arm all done. So like I said, we didn't use a lot of tools once again to make this. We used the lathe. And if you're interested in buying a lathe, you can buy tabletop lathes for like $300 from Canadian Tire or Princess Auto. And if you're just starting to get into it, you don't want to invest a lot of money because some lathes are really expensive. It depends how big and the brand you want to buy. But just to get started, to see if you actually even like using the lathe, just buy a cheap one. It'll work just as fine. It'll spin just fine. It'll have all the components of an expensive one. And you'll know right away if you like to do projects like this. And I think you will. I think if you have any interest at all and you want to buy a lathe, you'll make stuff on it. Like I said, don't be intimidated by it. The instructions are there. They'll let you know. Watch some YouTube videos on exactly how to use a lathe. Throw that Q-tip out. I'll wipe down the back of her arm and under the shield as best we can get. Back by her braid here. We did up under there. Yeah, so if you want to, like I said, buy a lathe, don't be scared of it. Like I said, I had no problem using it. I just watched a few YouTube videos and a little bit of common sense. Once in a while you get a little scared because your chisel will jump, but you won't get hurt. It's just you learning where to put the chisel, basically, when you're pressing it up against the wood that's on the lathe that you're turning. And doing something like this to start is probably best because you don't have a lot of little nooks and crannies, and you can practice. I mean, you don't even have to make anything first. Just get a piece of scrap wood and go over and just spin it on the lathe and get used to using your chisels. You don't even have to make anything. You're just learning how to use that tool. And the more you learn how to use the tool by using scrap pieces of wood, you're out nothing besides the wood in your time, you'll get comfortable using that. And then you'll be able to make something. You may be able to make something right away. You may feel comfortable enough right away. But if you're not, just use scraps of wood and give it a go. And like I said, you'll get good at it. It's something you obviously would want to try if you bought a lathe. So you're gonna get good at it because you put the time and the money into it, and you're gonna use it. Like I said, this is easy to make. So we got her front done. I'm going to give her a little weight with my cloth. If your cloth gets too wet of oil, which really it shouldn't, we're not putting that much oil on and taking that much oil off. Now I'll work onto her side here, under her arm. A little more. Like I said, you could use a rag to do the bigger parts if you want, but I find it just as easy to use the cotton swab. It's not like it's a big, but you see the size of the gnome. It's basically the size of my hand, so it doesn't take very long just to go along with the cotton swab. It's just as easy, I find. And then go back with the rag after you get some oil on. So now I'll do this side, and then we'll flip her hair up, and we'll do her underneath her hair as best we can. So we'll get this side all oiled up. Looks pretty good. Give it a little weight. You can leave the oil sit on a little longer if you want it to penetrate really deep, I guess. And you could do 2 coats if you really wanted to. I don't see the necessity to do 2 coats myself. So now all I'm doing, I'm just lifting her hair up like that. And I'm going to get up under her hair a little bit. Like I said, you don't really have to, I guess, get up under here. No one's really ever going to see it, but I just do it. I got the oil out, and I might as well just do as much as I possibly can with it. Like I said, it's only taken me 5 minutes probably to do this from start to finish to oil it. We're pretty much done now. We're ready to get her back done. So just making sure I got all the oil up under there. All the oil up under here. Looks good. Now I just got a little bit of back to do. She's looking pretty good. She's soon going to be sitting with her little friend for the rest of her life. So she'll have a buddy. And he'll have a buddy. Okay, so I'll just go up under the hair with the rag. Just lightly press. Just get off any excess. Getting nice and shiny. And the shine, it should last a while. The oil will penetrate the wood, especially over time. I mean, you can do this, you know, down the road if you really find she was drying out a lot. Fix her hair some. So I think we got her all done on the body part. So now I'll do her helmet. Throw that Q-tip out. I think we're maybe on our third or fourth Q-tip. So now I'll just go around doing her helmet. I already got up underneath, but I'll just go up under again just in case I missed a spot. And I find it soaks really quickly into the helmet. I don't know why. It's just on the burnt parts, it seems. I don't know if it's because it's so dried out from burning it. It just sucks the oil right in. Almost got her helmet in the front done. And a little bit here in the back. See how dirty the Q-tip gets from the soot from the burning process? But like I said, we're on the helmet now, so it don't matter. We're not going on to any more bare wood that wasn't burnt, so we're not going to discolor that wood. Almost got the helmet done. And then all we'll have left is the horns and her bottom. Okay, so now I'll do her horns. It'll only take a second because they're very tiny compared to her friend's horns. Hers are a little smaller because she's a little smaller. And her horns stick a little bit more out towards the sides where her buddies go more vertical up and down. Now we'll do the other side. Give it a flippy. So there, the horns are all oiled up. Take my rag, just wipe off everything, wipe off the horns, wipe off under her nose again where I put a little bit more under the helmet. Wipe off this horn. There, I think her helmet and her horns are done. Looking pretty good. And now I'll do the bottom. Like I said, the bottom has some scratches on it. We just roughly sanded on a belt sander. Just to smooth it out some so it didn't have any, you know, chunks of little piece of wood where we sawed a little piece off on from when we turned it on the lathe. So it won't scratch anything. You're not really ever going to see the bottom. I'll just put my initials on the bottom and S. Neil Sullivan. That's what I do on any art or any craft like this that I make. I just put my little initials on things. And we're almost there now. A couple more little dabs. Her bottom is done. Give it a little wapey. And there. There she is in all her glory. So we'll finish up here. All I got to do is pour my oil, what's left over back. I don't think there's anything left in the container. I didn't use very much. Put that back or throw it out, and We'll show you some side-by-sides of her and her friend. And yeah, we'll be done this project and on to another project. And the next project I think we're going to do, I am going to use the lathe one more time. I promise that'll be the last time for a while in my videos. Not that I know people do like to know how to use a lathe and stuff, or not how to use it, but just how to make something on it. And we've done that. But I'm just going to make a couple little Christmas ornaments, or the balusters I have, just to show you really how easy it is. And it's something you can give to your family or keep for yourself for your own tree or your decorations in your house. You can stain them. You can paint them. We painted a lot of ours. I think I did probably 100 now. Like I said, I come out, I have no set plan of an ornament. I just go over on the lathe and I make a bunch of different shapes. They're about this long. And they all turn out fine. They all look different. You paint them different colors. And it's something you could pass down to your kids and their grandkids and stuff, that you made a Christmas ornament. I mean, it goes up every year and they can see it and say, Grampy, or, you know, made those. And, you know, something you can be proud of, that you're passing something so simple on, but it could mean so much to your family members down the road. So, yeah, we're done with this for now. And I'll take a couple little pictures of her side by side with you. And we'll be done this project, and we'll move on to our next thing. So there's our two little Viking gnomes. This is the lady one we just made. That's the one we made in our last video. Now they're little best buddies. They'll be on a shelf together for the rest of their life. And you can see her long little braids that we did. You see her hair's a little long in the back. I'll spin her right around so you can see her. Show herself off where she was just made. So I think she looks pretty good. And I made another Lady Viking gnome probably about 8 or 9 months ago, maybe. I can't really tell. I don't keep track of time that well. And there she is, sitting in all her glory. Her braids are a little shorter. Her hair is a little shorter. But they both look exactly what they're supposed to be. Little Lady Viking gnomes. The horns are a little different, but they turned out both perfect, I think. So, yeah. So we'll remove her again and bring over her little fellow that she's going to be friends with the rest of her life. And there they are, together. I think they look pretty good. So I hope you liked the video. Hit like and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.